Welcome back to Dom Topics. I'm Mr. Suzanne. This episode, I'm going to be talking about, relationships and people's sex lives. So everybody has something that they're very uncomfortable talking about or admitting. For you, it might be that you have problems asking somebody for help. We all kind of are like that. If you have pride, if you have a lot of pride, you might have problems asking for help, for example. Other people have a hard time admitting if they're wrong and saying sorry. So everybody has something that is uncomfortable for them to talk about, right? Now, can you imagine, I would say one of the most uncomfortable things to talk about has got to be sex. And what you like sexually possibly, or, if something isn't good with your sex, just admit that to your partner. So now imagine if you have a fetish and your fetish is, different, out of the norm from the typical, guy gets on top, they have sex and guy orgasms, girl orgasms, and the sex is done. Let's say that your fetish is unusual. So you like to dress in female clothes, or the guy likes toys in his ass. These are different types of fetishes that are, funny enough, very, very common. So imagine having a fetish like that and you have a long-term partner. Fetishes can come on at any point in your life. It's not one certain thing that brings out a fetish in a person. It can be from trauma, but it can also be from porn. It could also just literally be something that you, in everyday life, just attracts you. So it doesn't really matter where it stems from. The fact is that the person that has the fetish has the fetish. It's sort of like seeing something that you didn't really want to see. You can't unsee it. Just like when you have a fetish, you can't undo the fetish. It's in them, right? So I think it's really important when people get into a relationship that they discuss where their level of sex, sexual excitement, sexual interest, sexual desire lays. How often does each person in the relationship or wanting to get into the relationship like to have sex? How often do they masturbate? These are things that should be discussed, because there are women as well as men who don't want to have sex often. For them, once a week is good, or once every 2 weeks is good. And then there's other people like myself who, if I'm in a relationship personally, I'd like to have sex daily. I have had men that I've met that like to have sex 3 times in a day. If you're not going to do that, and you're not willing to do it, and you think it's dirty or it doesn't turn you on, but this is something he wants. There are dominatrixes like myself who are completely non-sexual. I don't have sex with my clients. They don't do anything sexual with me. They're barely even allowed to touch me. Okay, they have to ask permission just to put their hand on my leg. So if he's coming to see a real, true professional dominatrix, not some fly-by-night girl that's an escort too and she's having sex as well during the session, that is not a true dominatrix. I'm sorry, but it's not. A true dominatrix is a lot of the time into psychological role plays, scenarios, fantasies, desires, and caters to that in a physical way, but it's all what's happening up here in their mind that's really turning them on. And then he goes right back home to you, and you've got somebody who was educated sexually that is catering to his particular fetish. She's trained in it. She's done it before, and he's not cheating. He's not having to go behind your back. Why would you want to tell him no? You really can't. I mean, you're signing yourself up for either a cheating husband or a divorce. So, I mean, in relationships, yes, it's important to speak of your fetishes and your kinks and things right from the beginning. But if that didn't happen, or if a fetish or kink developed partially through the relationship, then as a partner, you have to see if it's something that you can deal with. And if you didn't sign up for it, and it turns you off, and you think it's dirty, and you're not willing to cater to it, then you have to allow him to go and see somebody that can cater to that fetish. I mean, it blows my mind how there's couples out there where the guy just loves to eat pussy, but his wife that he married just doesn't like that. Or a guy loves a blowjob, and the girl he married just doesn't like to give blowjobs. I mean, that's the thing. You have to speak about sex in the very beginning of a relationship. And if you don't, you've signed up for problems. You've signed up for possibly somebody cheating in the relationship. You have to be able to match each other sexually in the same respect. So if he wants it once a day and you only want it once a week, then, you know, compromise. Do it 3 days a week. Do it 4 days a week instead of every day of the week, you know, but not once a week, because it's not going to be enough for him. Of course he's going to go and look elsewhere because he's not satisfied sexually. So why would he sign on to just have sex with you when what you're providing him sexually isn't enough? And the reason why I'm really emphasizing this is because 50% of a relationship is the sex. Yes. The rest is all the rest. But 50% is about sex. Sex is a huge part of a relationship. Whether you want it very infrequently or you want it very frequently. So as you can imagine, there's a pretty big difference between somebody who wants sex 3 times in a day compared to somebody who wants sex once every 2 weeks. Would those people be compatible sexually? Absolutely not. Now, when somebody does, and somebody is in a relationship and a fetish develops later on in the relationship, which is as a huge, I mean, it happens all the time. It's like we change daily, right? When you meet somebody in a relationship, you're hoping that the two of you change at the same pace, in the same direction, but it doesn't always go like that. That's why there are divorces, and that's why people do separate. I mean, technically, when you meet somebody, you're signing up to only have sex with them. You know, there's all these other options out there. We're not going to deny that options don't just come to you, or options will just come to you throughout life, is what I'm trying to say. When you're in a relationship, you've made this agreement with this person that I'm giving up all of that stuff out there, all these other people, all these other opportunities, just to have sex with you, right? And the other person agrees as well. So once that agreement is made, it has to be so that the partner reciprocates to cater to or to provide what their partner wants sexually. So a guy going to, or a man coming to a woman, if it is his partner already, or whether it's a new relationship, and saying, this is what I like sexually, and maybe it is something alternative, and then the woman saying, well, absolutely not. You know, I'm not into it. It's gross, and no, you can't go see anybody to go and do that either. So, in other words, so a man who likes to dress in sissy clothes and likes to be pegged once in a while, if his wife is saying no, right, absolutely not, and but he's you know, already taken the big step of telling her and confessing this fetish to her, and she's saying no, what do you ladies think is going to happen? He's going to cheat. You're leaving him no choice. The two of you made an agreement that you were not going to cater to all these other opportunities out there, so that it would just be the two of you. He agreed to just fuck you as long as you're just fucking him, and the two of you are taking care of each other's needs sexually. So once a woman says, no, forget it, I'm not into that, and the guy's kind of left hanging, that agreement has been broken. Now he's got to go look for other opportunities and situations so that he can have his needs met, because that was your job, to meet his needs, just like it was his job to meet your needs sexually, right? So if he's meeting your needs sexually and you're not willing to bend or cater to his needs completely, then he's going to cheat. You can't just say no. You have to look into different options.